Hi guys, it's Darlene and welcome to my channel. Alright, so today's video is going to be a little bit different. I think I'm going to do a series. I don't know how often I'll do the videos. It might be once a month, it might be once every couple weeks, it might be once every couple months. But it's basically about getting to know me a little bit better. And with this first particular video, we're going to talk about my anxiety disorder. I mentioned it in some previous videos, and several of you had said that you would like to hear about it and that it may help. So I'm all for that. You know me, I don't really mind talking about anything. So let's go ahead and let's begin, okay? First and foremost, if you're already subscribed to my channel, I just want to say thank you so very much. If you are not yet subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. That way you won't miss out on any videos. All right, so before we get started, these videos, just like my breast cancer videos, will be obviously titled, so you'll know what they are. And if this isn't something of interest to you, obviously I'll be doing videos on fashion and beauty like I always have, so you can just stick to those. The other thing that I would ask as we dive in is I don't mind opening up my life into you. Now in doing this, the only reservation that I have is that I know I'm gonna get people that will not agree with maybe something I say. I get that all the time anyways, but not on YouTube because I typically keep it beauty and fashion, you know. But I'll even get dislikes on my breast cancer journey videos, and I find it so interesting that people take the time to make a negative comment or to dislike a video when you could just move on. If you don't like me, move on. If you don't like what I have to say, if you don't agree with what I have to say, move on. I have never once would ever even think to put a negative comment on someone's page, because I know the videos that I have planned in my head, so I know that as we go down, and I apologize, I'm getting over from being sick. No, not COVID, thank you God. I've said that like in 3 videos now. But man, it's kicking my booty. I'll talk about my anxiety disorder. It is a diagnosed anxiety disorder, and I found out that I had it after I had my first bout with cancer, which was in 2011. I had thyroid cancer, and they found, and yeah, I can really, like, this could be a 5-hour video if I don't try and stay focused. So for those of you that would like to know more about thyroid cancer and how I found out and everything, put it in the comments and I'll make a separate video. But after my thyroid cancer, they take my thyroid out, and a thyroid is one of those organs that does so many things. And when you don't have it, you realize just how important it is. One of them is it actually helps regulate sort of your, I'm gonna say like this, it really helps with anxiety, okay? So when you don't have that, and I had an anxiety disorder before that, I just didn't know it. Hindsight's 2020, right? I can look back and go, that's why I did this or that, or why I felt this way or that way. So after my surgery, there would be times where, like, I would be driving and I would just feel so uneasy. And it progressively got worse to the point where one time I was picking up my daughter from church, and I was at like the stoplight, and I had a full-fledged panic attack. There is a difference between having an anxiety attack and a panic attack. Panic attack is much worse. You lose complete control of your body, and by that I mean you have the fight or flight response. and it's something you cannot control. I was at the light and I didn't know what was happening. I thought I was having a heart attack. Your heart races. You become like, I was in my car and I felt like I had to get out. And if the light hadn't changed, I think I would have left the vehicle. I don't know what I would have done, but that's how intense it is. It's very, very intense. And I was only a few blocks from picking her up, and it was, that was the first panic attack that I had. And I went to my doctor, and then I went and she said, oh, you had a panic attack, and she gave me some like calming, like things to do, like count back from 100 and things. Those work for anxiety attacks. They don't work for panic attacks. I mean, they're helpful, but it just depends how bad the attack is. So I did go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist. I can't remember. It's been a long time. And I went through the whole thing and talked about everything about my childhood and adulthood, and why this was happening, and careful. So I was diagnosed with it and said, okay, fine. Being the stubborn Italian that I am, well, I can get through this, right? And I did for quite some time. And then when I say quite some time, it was maybe a year. And then, so it was about a year after my surgery, and I got the flu. And I never recovered from the flu. It was like I never got my appetite back. I had lost 30 pounds. I couldn't eat. And I kept ending up going back to the hospital and, the emergency room, and oh, we don't know what's wrong with you, blah, blah. Yeah, your magnesium's a little bit low, but it shouldn't, now I know later, and again, another video if you like, but I have a magnesium deficiency. Calcium pulls magnesium from your body. I have to take calcium every single day in high doses because I don't have a thyroid. I have no way of getting calcium into my body naturally. So I have to take supplements. So, but calcium pulls magnesium. So the flu was like, if you imagine a glass of water, the flu was the last little drop of water, and it overflowed. So for 8 months of hell, I had every test known to mankind, and that, of course, to diagnose what my issue was, and it was a magnesium deficiency. Dr. Maloney with UT Physicians, my God, he saved my life. He actually saved my life. I was, this close. I couldn't walk. I was in a wheelchair. The whole works, yes. So obviously that was not good for anxiety. At one point, in one of the many visits that I had to the ER, I was in the ER about every 9 days getting IV transfusions because we didn't know. I only knew that once I had the transfusion that I could eat. Magnesium plays a very, very big role in your health. So at one point, one of the physicians prescribed Xanax. And it was like the smallest dose they possibly made, and it was like half a pill. And I remember I currently have an excellent physician. She's not the same physician that helped me through this because we moved. But my physician, Dr. Schroff, oh my God, she's like the most amazing doctor. I love her so much. She knew me healthy. So she knew all of this was not a figment of my imagination, as one male doctor told me. I remember when I was going through this, trying to figure out what was wrong, right? We didn't know I had a magnesium deficiency that was significant enough, even though the numbers, yes, it showed it was low, in 99% of the population, it wouldn't have the effect that it had on me, but it just broke my body down. I remember a physician telling me that it was all in my mind. My doctor reported him. But there was a physician that prescribed Xanax. And at first, when I took it, and, you know, I went back to my physician, and I was like crying, like, because I'm like, am I gonna be on this medication? Like, it's like, it really affected me. Like, I'm like with regards to medication, I'm the cheapest drunk ever with medication. I take one, like half a pain pill and the room's spinning, right? You know, it's just me. I can't take NyQuil. I can't take anything with Tylenol PM. I'm just that kind of girl, right? So I remember crying, you know, but we kept me on the medication. Now, looking back, she would have preferred that I had not taken it because it is a controlled substance. Alprazolam is the medical name of the medication that I take. Xanax is the brand name, I guess. And there's several problems with the medication, but it works. So let me talk about several things here. First, let's talk about the issues that I had. So to get me to the point, once we knew I had the magnesium deficiency, it was corrected. I take magnesium now. It took a little while, but just a little while in comparison to the 8 months of hell. I literally was like, I couldn't even eat 100 calories a day. I mean, it was so bad. Things that I noticed was my anxiety. I knew at this point that I had anxiety, but it went to a whole new level, like a whole new level. I couldn't get in an elevator with more than, like, if there's more than 3 people in the elevator, I couldn't get in it. I would walk upstairs. I couldn't sit in a restaurant. I couldn't go shopping. I couldn't do anything. I was home, like literally homebound. I couldn't walk to the mailbox, which was like half a block where we lived in Shirley. It was like half a block. I couldn't walk. No, I was like homebound. Didn't drive. Homebound, y'all. Homebound. It was very significant. When I say I have an anxiety disorder, it's not something little that I suffered with, and that I suffer with today. It's just that I take medication to allow me to function. So I at some point during this medication was given to me, and in the beginning it really hit me hard, like it just, like any new medication. But then I realized that everything, I could function, and over time I realized, wow, okay, I can function, like I can do things. And slowly I walked to the mailbox, you know. I started driving, you know, all of these things. I started building back my life. At this point in time, I was also going through personal issue. My husband and I were, you know, going through a very rough patch, if you will. So during this time, I was alone, not with husband. And it was difficult, you know. I fought thyroid cancer alone, and that's very depressing, you know. One of the things I think I talked about with breast cancer is how important it is to have someone by your side, have whatever, family members, a husband, whatever, really be supportive. When you don't have that support system, it makes it harder. Now, I'm very used to being strong. As we get into my childhood, you will understand why I am used to doing things by myself. I am used to being strong. I am a strong-willed woman as well. With the medication, I was able to live a relatively normal life. Now, Does that mean that I never have a panic attack or that I don't have anxiety attacks? No, of course not. I was doing very, very well. And then I got breast cancer. But even before that, yes, I would have, mild anxiety attacks. If it's an anxiety attack, I just know I can breathe through that. I know I have to stop what I'm doing, put a cold cloth on, whatever it is. There's these little tips and tricks, right? It's not always grab the medication. Now, if it's full-fledged panic attack, I know right off the bat, I have to take the medication. And I don't have issues taking medications that help me live. I have to take Synthroid for the rest of my life, calcitriol for the rest of my life. These are things because I don't have a thyroid I must take. So when I had the breast cancer, I started off very strong, as you all know, and if you don't know, you can always follow that particular journey. And then, one thing after another happened, and it broke my spirit. And in breaking my spirit, after the third surgery and the hospital infection and being in the hospital again multiple times, it's like flashbacks from that time where I was in the hospital and in the ER all the time, and I thought I had, that was the past, this is the future, I don't have to live that way, I don't have to go through all of that again. And so of course, the more stressed you are, the more anxiety you get. And so it can cause, it's like a very vicious little circle. So after the breast cancer, that played a heavy role in my anxiety level. Not the breast cancer itself, because honestly, I was really in a good place as far as my being able to do things. It was back to kind of being like my normal self. But then I had the breast cancer and all the complications, and then, the hospital, and then that brought back memories. And then I was slowly starting to build back, and then COVID hit. And the last place this girl ever wants to be is in a hospital ever again. I don't want to be in an emergency room. I don't want to be in a hospital. I've had my fair share. So COVID really made me extremely anxious. I'm sure as it had all of us, or has, I don't know where everybody is, it's a year and a half later. But when it first was going on, it was like, a pandemic? Are you kidding? It's just crazy. And trying to keep my family safe as anxiety to me. Now, last year, in some regards, it was easier last year, and in some regards, it's easier this year. Last year, my son was at home doing remote learning, so I knew he was safe. This year, he has been vaccinated, so that's a positive, but he goes to school. Every other day I'm getting a letter, there's a possibility that your son has come in contact with somebody that's been infected by COVID. And I'm like, of course. So that adds stress. And then now there is a downside to the particular medication that I take. The downside is that one, I can't just stop the medication. I would have seizures, and it would be a very bad thing. The second thing is your body becomes used to the medication. So you have to take more and more and more and more. Now, I'm a stubborn girl, you guys. So for me, prior to the breast cancer, I would always be on the absolute lowest dose that I possibly can be on. And if that meant that I had to suffer through a little bit of anxiety, then I would do it. Because I know how this particular medication works. My husband and I got back together. We bought this home about 6 years ago. Where am I now? I don't drive again. I will drive very short distances. I don't have an issue going out. The medication helps tremendously. So I can, as long as I'm with someone, this is the key factor. So if I'm with my husband, my mom, whoever, we don't go out a lot, mind you, right, with the COVID thing, but we can go out and eat. We usually eat outdoors or in restaurants that we know people wear masks, all this stuff. I'm okay. I can do it. But I don't drive. I can drive if somebody's with me. Like there are times when my mom's with me and she hates driving I have a truck. She hates driving a big truck. So, I love a big truck. I'm fine. Like during the Nordstrom's anniversary sale, I had to go to Nordstrom's, and that is a distance from my home. And, so she went with me, and I'm okay with, as long as someone's in the car. But if I had to drive to Nord, I wouldn't have done it by myself. I couldn't. I would have, like, I can feel the anxiety. And okay, how does it feel? Maybe you want to know. My heart just starts racing. My head starts spinning. Sweaty palms, you know. And there are techniques that I do utilize. What are they? Counting back from 100. I know it sounds stupid, but it works. Air blowing on my face, air conditioning, drinking water. So like I'm switching my mind, instead of like dwelling, I try and move my mind somewhere else. And then if I'm home, ice cold pack on the back of my head, watch a movie, these things, just taking your mind out. But there are times where I'll have to stop. And that's very frustrating because I want to go, and I can't. So I'm trying to think if there's any other questions that you may ask, and I'm trying to address them. Over the years, so I've been dealing with this for 11 years, and I have upped my medication as the years have gone by. Most recently during the breast cancer, we raised the medication, and so that's the downside. Now, has anyone, because there may be somebody that asked this, has my doctor, so I have a new doctor, right? Well, since I've been here, and I love her. She's amazing. Actually, she's fairly new. Because I used to travel to Sugar Land. That's how much I love my doctor, which is an hour away, by the way, from where I live. So, but I did find my doctor 3 years ago, and she's flippin' amazing as my first doctor. Super brilliant, like smart as a whip, caring. I love everything about her. And we've talked about this because she knows how I am. So, changing any one of my medications, and when I say medications, it's like I told you, calcitriol is vitamin D. It's a prescription vitamin D because vitamin D helps absorb calcium. You see, all these little things, they add up, you guys. So I take calcitriol, and I take Synthroid. If someone said all of a sudden we're going to switch you from Synthroid to something else, I would lose my mind because I know that these things work. So the group of medications that I have help me to be somewhat of a sane human being. No, I'm a little crazy, but it helps me function. In all seriousness, it helps me function. Has my doctor ever wanted me to not be on this medication? Of course, both doctors did. The issue is that they work for me. Well, the issue is it works. The other issue is I'm allergic to a lot of medications. So that makes I have a massive phobia of medications, of taking any new medication. For instance, with the breast cancer, they gave me 2 different antibiotics, and I was allergic to both of them. So anytime something new is put into my world, you know, it makes me nervous, of course. One of the medications, cortisone. You know how many people are allergic to cortisone? Oh, about this many. It was injected for arthritis into my sternoclavicular joint, which is basically our clavicle. And I passed out and went into convulsions. You know, it makes you anxious to try a medication, right? You know, when you become, and my grandmother was the same way. Every medication I'm allergic to, she was allergic to. It's kind of strange. Where my mom could take anything. My brother could take, my husband, he'll take anything. He won't even look at the drawer, he just takes it. I'm like, I want to be like that. But I'm not, and that's how I'm built. Now, so yes, we have discussed in the future to possibly try a different medication that's not, you know, but I don't know. I tell her, she knows how I am, you know, it would cause me more undue stress than I need. So right now, that's the medication I take, and it works beautifully. It keeps me functioning. Why did I find it important to share my anxiety disorder? I think it's very important to know who you're following. That doesn't mean you have to know every single thing about their life, but the issue that I have is that it's so easy for us to compare ourselves to an influencer, to someone that you're watching on a YouTube video or seeing on Instagram, and saying, oh, why don't I look like that? Or why isn't my marriage that perfect? I guarantee you their marriage is not that perfect, okay? That their life is, you know, just wonderful and glorious and never have an issue. We all have issues, okay? We just, you know, some share, some don't. So for me, I wanted you, so that's kind of number one. And number two, there can be a stigma, especially with regards to women and anxiety disorder or depression or any other mental disorder that we may have. And the third reason is, why not? Why not? If it helps one it's like my journey with breast cancer. If it helps one person to know you're not alone, that someone you follow or watch has this disorder, then awesome. I am not ashamed to have to take a medication because I suffer from an anxiety disorder. Not at all. I'm grateful that there are medications that allow me to function. This girl used to be super fearless. I grew up on my own. I was on my own at 16 years of age. Again, we'll go back. I wanted to do this one first, but we'll go back. And I'll share more. So the main thing that I hope that you get out of this is that never be ashamed of if you are going through something, no matter what it is. If you have to take a medication to function in life, be grateful the medication exists. And you know, yeah, people have high blood pressure or high cholesterol or whatever. They take a medication for that and there's no stigma behind it. Why should there be one for anxiety or depression? It's your mental health. And just like our physical health, we need to take care of our mental health as well. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative. You know a little bit more about me. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.